Some cases stay with us because they leave so many questions unanswered. Today, we look at two real disappearances from different times and places. Both involve ordinary people who vanished without a clear explanation, and each has details that make people wonder if there's more to the story. Viewer discretion is advised. These are true events with unresolved elements. In August 1961, the north end of Tacoma, Washington, was a quiet, family-friendly neighborhood. 8-year-old Anne Burr lived there with her parents, Don and Bev, and her 3 younger siblings. By all accounts, Anne was a bright, artistic, and very responsible child. She was mature for her age, often walking to school by herself and helping her mother around the house. On the evening of August 30th, the family had a perfectly normal day. The weather was warm and humid, typical for late summer. Around 8 p.m., the children went to bed. Later that night, a powerful thunderstorm rolled in, bringing with it heavy rain and flashes of lightning. Early the next morning, around 5:15 a.m., Bev went to check on the kids and made a terrifying discovery. Anne's bed was empty. A chilling scene unfolded as the family realized the front door was unlocked and slightly ajar. A living room window was also found raised, and a small red stool from the dining room had been moved directly underneath it. What was most unnerving was the complete lack of any signs of a struggle. Nothing was broken, nothing was out of place, and there were no unusual marks anywhere. The family dog, who normally barked at any disturbance, had remained silent throughout the night. It was as if Anne had simply vanished into thin air. The police arrived quickly and launched a massive search operation. Hundreds of volunteers joined law enforcement, combing through buildings, fields, and nearby bodies of water, desperate for any sign of the missing girl. Investigators began interviewing neighbors, friends, and family members. Everyone, including Anne's distraught parents, cooperated fully. Don and Bev Burr even passed lie detector tests after initial reviews, clearing them of any suspicion. The entire community was on edge, baffled by how a child could disappear from her own home without a single trace. Over the years, the case generated numerous tips and leads, but each one led to a dead end. One particularly strange tip came from an inmate in prison who claimed involvement and pointed investigators to a specific location. But a thorough search of the area turned up absolutely nothing. The case gained a new layer of complexity because Tacoma had experienced other unsettling child-related incidents in the decades prior, creating a climate of fear and speculation. One theory, which surfaced much later, connects Anne's disappearance to a teenager who lived just a few blocks away at the time. This individual would later become infamous for a series of horrific crimes across the country. In interviews conducted years afterward, this person chillingly described an early similar incident from his youth. But when directly confronted by Anne's family, he denied any connection to her case. Despite the circumstantial suspicion, no physical evidence ever linked this individual, or anyone else, to Anne's disappearance. The case has never been officially closed. What makes this disappearance so deeply puzzling is the silence. Anne was taken from her own home, in the middle of a raging storm, without making a sound that would wake her family or alert the dog. After more than 60 years, her surviving family and dedicated investigators are still searching for the answers that might finally bring them peace. Let's jump forward a couple of decades to June 1984. In a small town called Fernald, Ohio, this is where we meet Dave Bocks, a 39-year-old pipe fitter. Dave worked at a place called the Feed Materials Production Center. Now, this wasn't just any factory. It was a sprawling, secretive government facility that processed uranium for national defense programs. Most people in the area didn't really know what went on behind those fences. Dave had been working there since 1981, often pulling the overnight shift. He was a dedicated family man with 3 kids, and everyone who knew him described him as reliable, hardworking, and extremely cautious, especially when it came to safety protocols at the plant. On the night of June 18th, Dave clocked in for his shift around 11:30 p.m., just like any other night. He arrived with his co-worker Harry and set up his workstation. He left his toolbox open, with his keys and lock sitting right on top a habit of his, indicating he planned to be right back. The first few hours of the shift were uneventful. But then, around 4 a.m., things took a strange turn. A witness saw Dave having what looked like a very serious conversation with a supervisor inside a truck. Not long after that, he was spotted walking towards a section of the plant where he wasn't assigned to be. When morning came, Harry realized something was wrong. Dave hadn't shown up for the end-of shift safety meeting. More alarmingly, his toolbox was exactly as he had left it hours before untouched, keys still on top. His personal belongings were all there, waiting for him. A search of the massive facility began. It was during this search that co-workers made a chilling discovery inside one of the plant's enormous industrial furnaces. The furnace logs showed a sudden, unexplained temperature drop right around 5:15 a.m. and inside, among the processed material, they found small scorched items, fragments of what looked like eyeglasses, pieces of a work boot, and a set of keys. Investigators swarmed the plant, reviewing every log, every record, and interviewing every employee on that shift. The official finding eventually leaned towards the idea that Dave had made a personal decision to end his life. They pointed to some past challenges he had faced, including a divorce and some health issues, as potential reasons. But for those who knew Dave, this explanation just didn't add up. So many questions remained unanswered. How could he have accessed the furnace? The opening was tiny and positioned high off the ground, making it incredibly difficult, if not impossible, for one person to get into on their own. Furthermore, Dave's life didn't seem to be spiraling. He had just paid his bills, he was making plans for the future, and according to his friends and family, he hadn't shown any signs of distress. In fact, some people close to the situation believed Dave was a whistleblower in the making. They speculated that he had become deeply concerned about major safety violations at the plant and was planning to expose them. This theory gained significant weight just a few months later. In the fall of 1984, it was publicly revealed that the Fernald facility had been releasing huge amounts of uranium dust and other radioactive materials into the environment for decades. This bombshell led to massive government investigations, class action lawsuits, and eventually, a complete overhaul and cleanup of the site. Because of where they were found, Dave Box's remains were classified as hazardous materials and handled with extreme protocols. The official cause of his death was never definitively ruled as anything other than unexplained. It remains an open wound for his family and a haunting mystery for the community. These two cases, one from 1961 and the other from 1984, show how some events can leave us with more questions than answers. They are stark reminders that even with investigations and official reports, the full truth can remain just out of reach, leaving families without the closure they deserve. What do you think happened in these cases? If you have any thoughts, or if you know of similar stories, please share them respectfully in the comments below. We'd love to hear from you. Thanks for watching, and if you're interested in more deep dives into real, unexplained events, make sure to subscribe. Stay curious, and stay safe.